Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Welcome back to the Inside the Show podcast with Ryan Show. It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm living life. I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world at this point. We have another guest on the podcast, and this is kind of where we break down mindset, discipline, the things that build you up into the strongest version of yourself. Today, I'm sitting down with someone who has, I feel, been making a real impact in the fitness space, and I think it's kind of going unnoticed, but I'm here to bring it to light today. Branden has his own coaching brand. He's focused on discipline, routine, and becoming a better overall man. So, Branden, I really appreciate you being here, man.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here, man. Let's hop into the quote of the week. I'm gonna have you go first because I'm really intrigued to what you brought
Okay, yeah.
to this interview.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it off my whiteboard because I wrote it here so I wouldn't forget it. But it's from my Bible study this morning, but it's from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 13 and 14, and it says, "Happy the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. Her profit is better than profit in silver and better than gold in revenue." So, like the way that I took that quote and the way that I really understood it is that wisdom is like more valuable than any physical asset because it is the means to achieve any asset. So like for example, right? You could drop me in like any city in the world with a laptop and I would figure out how to sign coaching clients because I understand how to speak to people and I understand how to get people results. And I wouldn't have that without wisdom. So like with the wisdom and the knowledge to achieve whatever outcome you want to achieve, the outcome you currently have doesn't matter as long as you have the wisdom to get that. So I think every young man and every person in general should be chasing wisdom and understanding because it is the means to achieve all of their goals.
I like that. I like that a lot. What's that from? Is that from the New Testament, Old Testament?
It's from the Old Testament. It's from Proverbs chapter 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, I need to delve back into the Old Testament. I've been so focused on the New Testament recently. It's like right now I'm at the end of Matthew, where Jesus is healing all of just random kind of people that come to him, and then I'm at the point where Peter is kind of like doubting Jesus in a sense where he was like running to Jesus. I'm pretty sure it's like chapter 20, 23, but he's running to Jesus, and because Jesus is standing on water. It's when he walked on water, and he's running to Jesus, and he doubts him after like taking 3 steps of walking on water, and then he falls directly into the sea. So that, like, I haven't read that story. I read it for the first time like last week, and it was unbelievable just to like sit there and go, wow. He took 3 steps on water, and he just said, no, I don't believe, after taking those 3 steps. That to me was the unbelievable part.
There's so much gold in the New Testament. I mean, I've also like I find myself coming back to the Gospels like over and over and over again, no matter
Hmm.
what I'm reading in the Bible. I feel like it's just like it's so evergreen where you're always gonna learn something new every time you read it, especially just with like whatever correlations you can kind of develop with your own mind as you're reading
Yeah,
it.
absolutely, dude. All right, I'm gonna hopefully like, my quote can kind of live up to what you just pulled out, but um, I got this from Jordan Peterson's book, Dr. Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules of Life. I have not finished the book yet. I'm reading like 8 different things at once. I'm finishing up school, so it's kind of hard to free read right now. But we got finals next week, and I'm kind of excited to be done with that because I can actually delve into what I want to learn about. But here's the quote from that. It says, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. And I think that's so prevalent, especially in today's society now that we have social media, and it's becoming this recurrent event where we see people on social media doing so much better than us, or we think they're doing so much better than us, and we compare ourselves to them. I know, for instance, like me, like back in high school, back in early college, I mean, I still kind of do it now. You see all these giant bodybuilders, you see people that are in incredible shape, and people that have a lot of wealth, and they're just displaying it online for people to see. And on the receiving end, you're like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Especially that still happens to me today. I don't know if that's kind of how you see it or react to it in that way, but I feel that we need to focus more on ourselves and our own professional development as human beings. I feel if we just compare ourselves to others and not focus on ourselves, we're going to lose ourselves in the process.
Yeah, I completely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. It's just so interesting because social media is just such a weird construct, and we can see people's lives through a whole different lens, and it's like the lens that they choose to let us see.
Yeah, that's what's really interesting about it, and I've definitely fallen into that at times too. You'll never get fulfillment from living your life solely with comparison to other people. Because I feel like, I mean, there have been plenty of times in my life where I've tried to achieve like XYZ goal to prove somebody else wrong, or because somebody else did it and I wanted to be up to their standard. But you don't really get fulfillment for that. Like it feels cool in the short run, but in the long term, it's like, okay, why am I doing this? Like you have to have a greater reason. And I feel like for any of your goals, if you want to achieve something like extraordinary, you have to have reasons greater than just somebody else did it or trying to prove somebody else wrong.
For sure. I mean, would you say you have anti goals to your goals? Meaning, like, or you have things that you wouldn't actually give up to achieve something that you're trying to go after?
I don't really know, to be honest. Like, I can't, there's nothing I can really think of that I like wouldn't give up, but I feel like there's nothing that I need to give up, I guess, to get to my goals, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like, I mean, through this like whole personal development journey, I've kind of cut out the things that I knew were holding me back. And now it's
Hmm.
just to get where I need to go, it's more about just doing more of what works, I suppose. I mean, obviously, there's things where it's like, do I spend maybe too much time on social media? Yes, of course. Do I have like these other downfalls that are holding me back? Yes, of course. But am I willing to cut any of those off to get to where I want to go? Of course I am. That's kind of the way I look at that.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Yeah. I want to head into the next segment because I'm just kind of interested in your story. Because, like I said before, I don't personally know you. So, this is like our first time actually talking. Like, obviously, not in person, but this is as close as to in person we're going to be, I feel, until maybe I see you at the Arnold Classic or something like that. Because I was trying to go last year and it just didn't happen. But yeah, I had sent you a couple questions, but this is the one that I want to start off with it because I feel like we're gonna get the most out of it and kind of get to know the real you. So before like you got into bodybuilding, before you got into fitness, and before fitness honestly took off for you, I feel like you're in a state where it's really you're starting to ramp up. Who were you as a person like without fitness? How did you start and get into fitness?
So with getting into fitness, I always crave to like be something more. I was actually talking about this in my stories the other day, but I was just like very average in every single metric of my life. I was never like the insanely smart kid. I was never like insanely athletic. There was nothing extraordinary about myself. So I kind of found that outlet through fitness. And the way that I got into the gym was actually I was in like a strength and conditioning class when I was like a freshman in high school. And it was right around COVID time. This kid, Andrew, who I barely knew at the time, he asked me to start going to like his home gym with him. He would like take me home from school, take me to his gym, take me home after that, and just like taught me everything he knew about like fitness and lifting. And that's how I got into it. But like the reason for me getting into it was solely, like I said, because there was nothing like distinctive about myself. And I used fitness as an outlet to find that distinctiveness, if that makes sense. I know that was kind of like a weird way to phrase it.
No, no, I think I get where you're coming from. So your buddy kind of got you into it, but you had a strength and conditioning course that
Yeah.
introduced you to the active lifting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I never took the course. Like the course, I kind of just went in there and did whatever. Like there was no like
Mhm.
real thought behind it. And then he kind of saw what I was doing, and it's like obviously I had no clue what I was doing in there. I was squatting with terrible form, like trying to throw up a plate on bench and failing, and he just kind of took me under his wing, I guess. I feel like everyone kind of needs somebody like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel like that's kind of where I started too. I mean, I started on my own, but it was through my own insecurity of not being at it like as good as some people on my basketball team. Like I was really big in basketball. It was like my favorite sport, and I got cut my sophomore year from it, and it just was like a big kind of punch in the gut because you work like a whole summer for it, and I thought I was gonna make the team, and it's just when they throw that punch at you and you're not kind of ready for it. I was just I remember just being really aggravated, really I would say in pain. Obviously, it's not the worst thing in the world getting cut from a basketball team, but to me, it's like all I wanted at that point in my life. That at that point, I just hit the gym, and it's like everything kind of. I feel like I never came back from the gym.
Yeah.
It just kind
Yeah.
of,
Yeah. That's how it
yeah,
goes.
yeah.
I feel like once
So,
you develop that passion, like everything clicks. And I guess I was kind of similar with that, where like, I mean, I played sports, right? Like I played like soccer, basketball, volleyball growing up, but it was like, I was again, like I said, just like super average at the sports. So like, I just was not talented at sports. I mean, I'm
mhm.
5'9", trying to play volleyball. So that there's not really a, that's not really a genius idea.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess just not having that like that skill, I wanted to. I guess I needed to find something where it didn't really require skill, because fitness, there's no skill requirement. It's just how hard can you work and how disciplined can you be.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that fitness can be a skill. Like lifting can be a skill, and it's a development over time that gets you that skill. But I would agree, you can start with minimal skill and develop it. Yeah, that's an interesting kind of concept to make there because yeah, you don't like fitness doesn't require skill. You can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess like
But
training is a
I
skill.
yeah, oh yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's like working out and then there's training. There's two different variables there. Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that. So what like moment made you think like so you started from this very young age in high school, right? Is when you
Yeah.
started lifting, I imagine. Yeah. So you went from high school lifting with your buddy, and now you're a full-on fitness coach. And I've seen some of your stuff online. I mean, you just had two guys compete, right? I don't know what place they got in their OCB shows, but that's a pretty big jump from where you started to where you are now. So I wanna kind of delve deeper into that story and like especially those two guys that just competed. I'm really interested to see how you got there.
And that was awesome. So this is kind of like, I guess, the meat of my story, because like me getting into the gym, I feel like it's not as interesting, but me starting coaching, there's definitely a lot more that goes into it. So this is when I was a sophomore in high school. Coaching was, or in college, sorry. Coaching was always something in the back of my mind. Like I worked with a coach myself. I had just started with one. I was on prep for a bodybuilding show, and I really like saw so much enjoyment from what he did, and it kind of fueled me to want to coach myself. So I took on a bunch of my friends as free clients. This is while I was on bodybuilding prep, because also, I mean, you've been on prep. You know how your mind is just like you need something to keep you occupied. Otherwise, it's terrible. You can't just sit there at a wall and be hungry all day. So I was like, all right, let me coach you guys for completely free. I want to try and learn. I want to see what I can do. And my coach was kind of teaching and mentoring me at the time. And so I like really enjoyed coaching them. I got them great results. And I was like, okay, I kind of want to turn this into a business. I don't really know where to start. And I opted to hire a mentor to teach me business, which was, I mean, at the time, inherently a terrible idea. I wasn't really thinking straight. It was very expensive and I had
Mhm.
zero money to my name. But I just had like this like calling to be like to be a coach, if that makes sense. It was a very like
Yeah.
strange instance, but I was in like a rough place. I had just gone through a breakup. I didn't really have much going for me. I was working at a bagel shop at 2 a.m. every single day over winter break, and I couldn't stand it. And so for me, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not passionate about this. I want to coach. I loved coaching my friends for free, so I couldn't imagine how great life would be if I could make an income from it. So
Mhm.
I had hired that mentor, had literally no money to my name, and I took out a loan for $4,000. So over that winter break, I worked 6 to 7 days a week, every single, like literally every single day at 2 a.m. to like make enough money. I became a manager at that job. I worked from 2 a.m. till 2 p.m. and then I would go train, I would meal prep, and I would go to bed. I had no social life, no friends really, no nothing. I just was locked in doing this and then trying to post content after and end up signing clients. And then as I started to sign clients, this was like when I launched the business in like February of this year. I started to really gain the fulfillment from it. I doubled down on learning. I had my coach continue to mentor me, and I pretty much had spent, 4 to 5 hours every single day on the learning process, and not really business anymore, but more like one, developing my own like speaking skills and social media abilities, but two, understanding client fulfillment, understanding how to get people to that next level. And then I was trying to learn more about bodybuilding coaching as well, because that's like my future, I really believe, is bodybuilding coaching. It's just what I'm so like the most passionate about. And I realized that after the show. And so a good friend of mine from high school, Matt, he pretty much told me he wanted to do a bodybuilding show, and he asked if I would be comfortable coaching him for the show. And I had learned a lot from my coach. I was definitely a little scared to prep somebody because I mean it's my first time doing so. But I had around like 30 lifestyle clients on my roster at this time. I felt very comfortable getting people transformations, and my coach was there to help me. So I decided to take him on as a prep client. And then the prep honestly went very smoothly. And then 10 weeks out, I was at my cousin's wedding, and
Mhm.
that I'm friends with. His name's Max. He was the other guy who competed in the show. He pretty much was talking to me about how he's getting leaner, and like his physique was just already pretty freaking crazy. And so he talked about like wanting to compete, and I said, well, like I have another client who's competing in the show in 10 weeks. Let's just do a shotgun prep. I'll coach you. I'll get you to stage. And he was super skeptical, but ended up agreeing
Mhm.
with me. And then we got them to stage. Flash forward 10 weeks. They both performed very well. Judges' feedback, they had like some of the best conditioning on stage, which was really good to hear on my end. And Max actually only lost to the guy who won the pro card, and it was an absolute back
Dang.
25 guys in classic. I believe finished third in debut, fourth in novice, fourth in open, and then Max was second, first in debut, and then he lost like the debut overall to the guy who won the pro card. So very stacked show, but very rewarding experience. I have two more clients competing in April in that same Pittsburgh show, so very excited for that as well, and just excited to continue to develop not only as like a fitness coach but as a prep coach because I feel as if my future is kind of in that situation.
Dude, hell yeah. Honest, that's so sick. I don't know how you do that. How could you self-coach yourself? For me, I could not do it because I was kind of in the same area you were. You said you were working at a bagel shop and you train,
Yeah.
right? Were you doing that on prep or was that before prep?
So it was on prep, I was doing it a little bit. Like
Okay.
I never had like even on prep, I never had like any like crazy work ethic or anything like that. Like like I said, I was in that relationship super comfortable. When I was
Mm-hmm.
4 weeks out is when I got broken up with, and then I competed. That's
Dang.
when I was coaching like my friends during that prep, like after that whole like breakup situation. And then
Mm-hmm.
after the prep is whenever I actually started to like launch the business and started working all those hours. So I wasn't working that during prep. I don't know if I would have been able to be completely honest with you, but that
Yeah.
was more of like a like the show was in October and that was like the start of December whenever I went home for winter break.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna compare myself to you there because during my prep is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done because not because I was training 3 times a day, because I wasn't lifting weights 3 times a day, obviously. I was training 5 days a week, but I was doing 130 minutes cardio 7 days a week.
But yeah, it's just cooked. Yeah,
It
that
was awful.
the
But
cardio.
not only that, I was working a part-time job and an internship. So I would go I would legit go I would work from like 5 a.m. I worked as a mechanic. It was from 5 a.m. to like 11:30, and then 12:30 to like 2 was training, was like actually like lifting, and then right after that I would go to an internship and I'd be there till like 8, 9 p.m. and then I'd go home and do like cardio. It was like cardio, work, lift, internship,
More cardio.
cardio, bed, restart for
Yeah.
6 months. So it was probably one of the most transformative experiences for
I
sure,
bet.
which is why I want to do it again. And I'm sure you would want to do one again eventually too.
Absolutely.
Cause
Absolutely.
I feel like you learn more about yourself every single time you do something like that. Especially like, I think next year I might even like do something completely out of the box and go for like a half marathon or something crazy like that.
I've thought about doing that. I've been running a little bit. I did
Dude,
a
we
couple
should,
5Ks.
there's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Cleveland one that I'm thinking about.
When is it?
It's in September, so you got plenty of time to train
Alright,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah, I was gonna say I'll have some time to train. I thought about doing, like, a half marathon, no training because I have a friend who posts fitness content, and he ran a full
Mhm.
marathon with 0 training. Yeah, crazy,
Are
crazy
you
shit.
serious?
He
I don't feel like I couldn't do that.
I don't know if I could. I feel like it's a lot mental. Like that's what I've learned from running a little bit. I'll do a
Mhm.
5K every once in a while, and it's really mental because the first time I was doing it, I was just complaining the whole time and just
Yeah.
whining. And my friends who were running with me were just like, dude, like, can you just like be positive for a second? I was like, all right, you're right. And then I ended up running, feeling completely fine. And the next time I did it, I ran like 5 minutes quicker. So I think
There
running
you
is
go.
a very mental sport. Obviously, you're gonna end up getting terrible shin splints and feel awful if you run with no training. That's a given, but there's definitely a lot of, like, mental that goes into running for sure.
And I think that's why I wanna do it because I'm like, one, it's out of the ordinary for me,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's completely different, and I'll have to switch up my training, obviously. I'm gonna still, like I'm d like, have you seen, like, the thing online where they call it, like, the hybrid training
yeah,
thing?
yeah,
Like, with Nick Bear and, like, the BPN stuff?
yeah, all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, I'm gonna have to go into that kinda split, but obviously, I'm not doing what they're doing. They're doing, like, Ironmans and things like that.
Yeah, that stuff's
But I'm
crazy.
like, the base is still gonna be lifting because 'cause I'm not trying to be small while running.
Yeah,
But, like,
I could
base
never give it up, like, give up training like a
no.
bodybuilder.
I know. I feel like I'm too much of a meathead almost. Like, I don't wanna say meathead because I have a little bit of brain behind the brawn, but like
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I think my question would be, so you had those 2 clients, right?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so what did you learn from your prep that transferred over to their prep, and how you kinda changed your mindset as a coach to kinda reflect it's like reflecting off of what you went through, and then now them kinda going through the same thing. How did you coach them based off what you learned?
Okay, so the first thing I learned specifically was just, like, diet structure and, like, dietary needs on prep. Like, I understood a lot about not only like getting them to that body fat percentage, but doing so in a way where I could like manage their fatigue accordingly, and also just understanding like their psychological battles. Because some people like in prep, I mean, you've obviously felt this where it's like, oh, I feel so small. I feel like I need like a refeed. Like I don't know what's going on. For me as a coach, it was about knowing when they actually we needed to pull back, or it was just something we had to push through. Like with Max, I mean, it was a 10-week shotgun prep. I drug him through the mud. He came in perfectly peaked. There was nothing, I wouldn't change a single thing about his prep. But obviously, during the time, like most people, if you don't have any experience prepping yourself, or you don't really know that much about prepping somebody, you would think, okay, I have to pull back. This kid, like, he's going through way too much. But truthfully, it was necessary to get him to where he needed to be for the show. So I think the most important thing I learned was just that sometimes in prep you have to override human psychology, and you have to push harder than you think that you need to push with a bodybuilding prep. And now obviously I learned a lot too about the peaking process, how I was manipulating sodium, water, things like that. That was a big factor as well for things that we had to do there. And just the whole like my prepping process, I definitely got a lot from my coach, because every coach has a different philosophy, and my
Mhm.
philosophy is very adapted off of his philosophy for me and his competitors, and also my own research. So I feel as if having a coach myself for, I mean, it's been ongoing for like 2 years. I've had a coach now. I think working with a coach myself and really talking to him a lot and understanding his philosophies has helped me develop my own similar philosophies on the same concepts.
Okay. Who was your coach before?
Dylan Hummel is who I've worked with for a couple years now. I don't know
Okay,
if
I
you've heard.
think yeah, I've seen him on Instagram. I
He's
think I
fantastic.
follow him. Yeah, yeah. He's pretty good. I think he coached one of the clients that competed at my show.
What
If I'm not mistaken.
he coaches a lot of people. I
Yeah.
know he coaches a lot of like influencers as well. Like a lot of like I found him through the old clothing brand I was sponsored with, because one of the other athletes was coached by him, and that's how I ended up reaching out to him through that.
Okay. Interesting. So you talked about pulling sodium and water. How did you do that? Could you go more into depth
Yeah.
on? Because I'm interested because I'm not obviously trying to be a coach myself, but I'm interested because these things happen to me and my coach. Like who? Well, obviously he coached me, but when he coached me and he pulled water and a little bit of sodium, but it was very gradual, and I'm wondering if it was kind of the same for you,
Yeah.
because you don't want to send your body into like or anything like that.
No, that's with sodium and water, it's a lot of people have really like abnormal philosophies on it. And it's just, if you're increasing or decreasing either your sodium or water like too much, there's just going to be a drastic bodily response. That's just how that's going to function. So with me, I pretty much just have sodium as a baseline. So 2 weeks out, sodium baseline is established. Typically, it's a quarter teaspoon with each meal. Most of my prep clients would eat 5 meals. That's just pretty traditional for the way I structure my programming. So they would have a quarter teaspoon with each meal. And then during that week before, I would conduct a mock peak. So I would see how they respond to an extra 1/8 teaspoon before training, to see if they have, better pumps, better contractions, they feel better, anything like that. And then I'll like take that data into account. And that's how I decide how much sodium they're getting for their peak. But sodium was pretty much kept like exactly the same on that baseline through the entirety of peak week. I didn't manipulate sodium at all for either client. They ended up just responding the best to having a strict baseline. And then with water, it was more of like a slow taper. And the other thing too is when you're changing water and sodium, there's so many variables that come into account. Like if you're increasing and decreasing both, it's really difficult to hit the nail on the hammer or the nail on the head. So for me, I just decreased water. I believe we started cutting water like 2 days out. They were each having, I believe, 4 liters a day going into peak week and throughout like the first half of peak week. And then it was a gradual decline in water, with sodium kept the same, so that their body was already used to that sodium. And by establishing the baseline, their body was so used to consuming the same amount of sodium that there was no like excess inflammation. They weren't holding on to excess water, and we dried them out like really nicely.
Interesting. Did you guys do like a carb load? And like I actually had to take I remember taking 2 shots of like pure vodka, and
Yeah, I've seen
it
that.
it put me on my ass. Like I have never drinking anything before, any alcohol, anything, and being that lean and being like that, and I remember that's like the best I ever slept on prep because it just knocked me out.
I
Um,
can imagine. We didn't do any of that. We definitely, I mean, obviously there was a carb load in place. Pretty much like my philosophy with that as well is like carbs taper up as water tapers down pretty much.
mhm.
There's different ways to go about it. So like with Matt, for example, he was like very, very, very conditioned. Max was the opposite where he had a 10-week shotgun prep. So I was digging to the last possible second. So with Matt, we opted for a front load where I started loading carbs early just to give us more time and so that I could taper back as needed. That worked very well for him. And for Max, we backloaded, so the complete opposite. So he was very low, pretty much digging until 4 days out, which is not ideal. And then we pulled back super hard, pumped the brakes. And then as water came down, that's whenever I started to increase carbs. So the carbs came up for like the third and fourth day of peak week. And then they came up a lot more whenever I started to taper water. But there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. It really
Yeah.
depends on the athlete and their situation and prep, I think.
Mhm. That's kinda how my prep was structured. It was very, like, 5 meals a day with a tablespoon or not tablespoon, teaspoon of salt,
So
and it was a lot of
tablespoon would be crazy.
dude, tablespoon would be nuts. I wish I had a tablespoon of salt, because I think what got me was the asparagus. Like, I can't even eat asparagus to this day.
I did that for them as well, just because it's a
Yeah.
diuretic.
Yep, because it's a natural diuretic, and I remember with my reverse diet, we tried doing it, and I'm like, "Dude, I can't do it. I can't, because it got to the point where mentally I was like, I would start, like, gagging because 'cause I'm like, "This is gross.
Yeah,
I
you
hate
gotta air
this."
fry it. You gotta air fry it. Air fried
Air
asparagus.
fry it, really?
It's dude, I had that on peak week, and I ate it for, like, 6 months after prep. It was so good.
Wow.
Like, I never got tired of it. Anything in an air fryer is better, but, like, when I started cooking the asparagus in the pan at first, and it was, like, disgusting. I hated the texture. It was, like,
Mhm.
soggy. Couldn't do it, and, I started air frying it. I air fry, like, everything I eat, to be completely honest with you. It's so easy, and it's a game. It
You
tastes
know
so
what? I'm gonna take that wisdom from you because I was doing it on the skillet, and it was just gross. I couldn't
skillet's
do
terrible.
it.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
wouldn't eat that either.
Maybe I'm just not smart enough to do that. That's why. That's why I
Cooking
couldn't
lessons
do
is
it.
all you need.
It's a lot of broccoli now, honestly, which I'm fine with. So what moment made you, like, say, like, "Oh, I'm going all in on coaching." Like, what was there a specific moment, or was it gradual, or how did you get to
I'd
that
say
point?
gradual. So, like, obviously, I knew I wanted to coach. I had always been, like, somebody with, like, the mindset of, "Okay, I don't really wanna work a normal job, I wanna work for myself." I always had that mindset, but I was trying to do, like, a bunch of different things. I tried to drop ship, I tried to do trading Forex. I never had passion for anything that I was doing, and so I inevitably put in minimal effort and failed, which is pretty much a given when you don't have passion for what you're trying to pursue. So where it really changed was obviously like investing in that mentor. I was kind of in a back against the wall situation where I was like, I need to make this work. But the last semester of college before this was really when that started to hit. So like I said, I'd worked at that bagel shop over winter break, and I remember going back for my spring break, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I hate this. I want to coach full time. I really want to do this. I'm going all in. And so I quit my job without even having many clients on my roster or like much financial stability because I
Mhm.
just really had strong self-belief, and I believe self-belief is like a cornerstone to any amount of success you want to achieve. So whenever I did that, and I started to just see more and more clients come in. I started to see better results, and I saw, more importantly, how much I was enjoying the process. That's whenever everything kind of clicked for me. Like, okay, I need to start putting all my eggs in one basket. I need to focus on this solely. And that's, I guess, when I really started to take things serious. Like this past summer, it was, I mean, my entire life was coaching. Okay, how can I
Mhm.
learn more? Like, spent so much time on education, just I did anything I could to learn more, to not have to, like, go back to my old job and so that I could do coaching full time because it was like, when you really find something you're that passionate about, I believe you'll do anything to do it full time. That's the way
Mhm.
I do it. It was the same thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm like this past summer has been like obviously like that. I talked about my prep and being so transformative where it was to the point where I'm like I don't ever like that was the hardest point of my life, and because of that, it's almost like so when you're in prep, obviously you have this kind of how do I want to word it? It's when you are on such low calories, you're honestly like I don't want to say dying as a human being, but you're not at your full potential.
No, not at
You know what
all,
I mean? So
especially mentally.
right, and that's especially mentally. So it was hard to show up every single day. I still did it, but I like it got to the point where I almost lost myself. I feel like I almost lost my part-time job being a mechanic just because I couldn't I didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
It was like I was like a walking zombie. And my boss, I worked for this company for I don't know 4.5 years. I don't work for them anymore. Great company, great experience working for them. But my boss is like, "Hey, look, man, I care about you, but I don't want to have to let you go," kind of thing. He's like, "You need to up your attitude," and that was kind of what I needed to hear. It was just a breaking point. I remember like pretty much breaking down in front of him and just bawling because I'm like, I can't handle it all. So, and during those processes, that wasn't obviously the only one. The internship was really hard too. I even talked to my boss during that, and I'm like, "Ugh, I can't," because I was a coach. I was a coach at a performance center, and it was like an attachment to a hospital in Beechwood. It was really fun, but I couldn't get the full experience out of it.
Yeah.
So, and I even talked to my boss at the internship at the time. I was like, I can't, I, I don't know what you want me to do. I feel like crap all the time. If you felt like me, you'd probably be acting the same way, kind of thing. But I think what switched my mindset kind of mid process in that was just, A, you're doing it to yourself. Like you could stop at any time. So you have to take into account like, okay, well, this is something I'm pursuing. Yeah, I knew it was going to be hard. I have to just deal with it. And I have to put a smile on my face every single day, regardless of how I feel. There was that. And then it got to the point where I got so close to God at that point. Cause I feel like my last 6 weeks, I was like, I can't do this by myself. Cause it was just so, cause it was so routine where, yeah, it was pretty easy to get up in the morning. Did I want to get up? No, but I was getting up regardless. But I felt it got to a point where I didn't want to get up. And I was solely relying on like God's will to get me out of bed. I remember just asking him every single day, I'm like, just give me one more day. Just give me one more chance to get this right. And then after those 6 weeks, I mean, that was all him. I don't think I would ever gotten on stage if it wasn't for him. You probably would never have seen those photos grace the Instagram space.
I feel like I've almost had a similar situation. It's really interesting because I don't think I had a relationship with God until my prep. So,
Mm,
like, I went to, like, a Catholic school growing up. Religion always felt very, like, forced in my life, and it never felt like I understood why I was doing it, so I never really had that relationship there. And then when I was, like I said, I was, like, 5 weeks out, got broken up with, I was at this point where I, like, spited God, to be completely honest with you. Like, there was no relationship there at all, and so my roommate actually asked me to go to church with him, and I went to church, and I just broke down crying, felt, like, so remorseful that it had taken something, like, to be in such a low point where I'm on no calories, I feel terrible, I just got broken up
mhm,
with, like, I had nothing that I felt was going for me, and it took like, that's what it took for me to find God, and I felt really remorseful that it took that much for me to find that
yeah.
relationship. So, it was definitely obviously a different situation, but prep does bring you closer to God, and I believe, like, I don't know if I'd even have that relationship with him today if I had not gone through that, so it's really interesting.
Yeah, they say that going through the hardest point, like you have to reach the lowest point
Yeah,
in your life to really find God.
I completely agree.
Yeah. And I've seen some of the stuff that you post on Instagram, like your journey through college. I know you struggled with some addictions and things like that. And I'd really admire you because that's something that is really hard for people to. I mean, it's an addiction. It's hard to get away from that stuff. So I admire you for changing your life. You did like a complete
Appreciate that.
360. So I kind of want to delve back into your brand, your kind of mantra. Your brand heavily emphasizes like confidence. It shows a lot, especially discipline. I mean, you clearly have a lot of discipline yourself. What was like the turning point where discipline became like a non-negotiable for you and your clients?
I would say this past summer is really where everything changed, like, discipline-wise. I mean, it's been a long journey, like, prep taught me so much about discipline, and then I fell off of it a little bit, and I started to fall back into old habits. But this summer, whenever I really decided coaching was gonna be like, that's what I wanted to do, I wanted to go all in on coaching, I realized that, like, to lord over others, I had to lord over myself first. And so I realized that if I was like not taking my life seriously, I was doing the people that were working with me a disservice. So I really started to like, I guess, lock in, if that's what you want to say. But I started waking up earlier and earlier. Like I moved my wake up time to like 5 a.m. in the summer, which I wake up here now, weirdly enough. But I started waking up early and I really just cut off a lot of the bad things in my life. And because I wanted to not only be a role model to people to get them in shape, but to make them a better man, a better person. So that's where a lot of my content really shifted there as well because I feel as if fitness is a small part of what I really have to offer as a person and as a coach. So I want people to not only transform their lives physically, but understand that that physical transformation can include a mental transformation and a lifestyle transformation. And so that like doing that over the summer and going through all of those different transformations and really cutting off a lot of the bad areas of my life, it definitely made me a better coach. And that's a lot of the stuff that you will also see portrayed in my content because
Hmm.
I think like when I talk about like confidence a lot, talk about like discipline, all that stuff like that. I believe confidence is just a lagging indicator for the amount that you respect yourself. Because like I used to not be able to talk like clearly, I couldn't formulate sentences. I couldn't talk in front of a camera whatsoever at all. Like I
Mhm.
would never came on a podcast a year ago. And it's solely because I didn't really respect myself. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have confidence because I knew that I didn't live a life that I respected. Like I was posting fitness content, but I was
Yeah.
going out 2 to 3 times a week. Like I was smoking all the time. I wasn't really taking my diet or anything serious, and I would like not put a ton of effort into training. So I really didn't respect the lifestyle that I lived, and so I couldn't portray myself accurately because I truly didn't want to. So I think that was what really made me like make that drastic change.
Wow. Can I touch on the smoking and the going out
Yeah,
2 to
yeah.
3 times a week? So, what was the switch? What was, like, I know we touched on it just now, like, what was the going all in and what was discipline and non-negotiable for you, but what was the switch? What made you go like, "Man, I'm in a really bad place?" Like, what was the point where you realized that, like, this is not where I want my life to go?
Well, I guess I kind of realized that like I didn't like where I was. Like I said, I was working that job that I didn't really like. I was never doing well financially. I looked good. Like I everything about my life, like from the outside, looked like I was doing decent. But again, it kind of fell into that where like how I said I got into the gym because I felt like I was average in every metric of my life. I felt like by not being disciplined, by going out all the time, by smoking, like doing those things, I felt like I was just average in every area of my life but fitness. So I realized that like okay, if I had this, like if I felt so terrible about being average in this, the reason why I probably don't have good mental health is because I'm not doing good or I'm average in other areas of my life. And so like that's why I really decided to cut those out. Like and it was never like a okay, I'm going all in, I'm cutting this out. It's just like 2 months go by and I'm like, wait, I haven't smoked weed in 2 months. And 2 months go by and I'm like, oh, I haven't gone out or anything. So it kind of
Mhm.
came gradually and without me like I never like put my foot down and said I'm quitting everything, but
Yeah.
the like locking in just came gradually over time as I realized that I didn't want to keep living that life.
Would you say you became or you succumbed to peer pressure from your friends? Is that how you kinda got into that?
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like again that kind of plays into just like wanting to have some type of identity. Like I didn't have an identity, so I conformed myself to what I saw around me. Like I wanted to be
Mm,
liked, I wanted to be popular, so I did what everyone else who was liked and popular did. So I just conformed myself to whatever they were doing because I thought it would give me an identity, but in all actuality, it just gave me the identity of somebody else masked onto myself.
yeah. That's interesting. Especially, like, talking about conformity there. It's almost like it's so weird because there's 2 ends of the spectrum where if you conform and you become, like, this popular guy, people will see you like that, but if you also don't conform, you can also become really popular as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Just by not doing what society's norms tell you to do.
I've seen that a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on both sides of that.
Mhm. Whi This is kind of a dumb question, but which side would you rather be on?
Definitely the side I'm on currently. That
There you go. There, I love to hear it. I love to hear it. So, I wanna go back to the mindset kinda topic. What are some mistakes that people make in their fitness mindsets today, in their fitness journey? Like, are there some, like, mindset philosophies that they're like bro science, things like that? Are there, like I don't know. What are some mistakes that people make in terms of their mindset?
I would say so like one mistake that I really noticed that's super prevalent today is like having the mindset that your training means absolutely everything. Like you see it all the time with like these young kids who are just like ultra science based in their lifting. Like that's cool. You know, I technically would train science based as well, but I feel as if people like mentally place so much emphasis on their training that they neglect all these other areas of their life that are equally, if not more important. And so they don't really progress because they think that training is the only thing that's going to get them to where they need to go. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that a lot with social media, just like the amount of kids who are just like posting like these random science-based exercises, but then they don't post a single meal they eat and they're 110 pounds and have been lifting for years. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I see that a lot.
I've seen that in person,
Oh yeah.
actually. I switched gyms, like, midway through prep because I needed to just get away from because I knew too many people at my other gym, so I
Yeah, I
switched
feel that
to
entirely.
yeah, I switched to, like, a whole it's kinda like a grungy I don't know if that's a good word to use, grungy old style, like,
Yeah.
gym. But, yeah, there was, like, some kids there last week, and I'm just they call themselves, like, power builders, and they're constantly I don't know, they had one conversation with one kid, and it didn't rub me the wrong way because it's like he completely got the whole idea of training wrong, I feel, and he's like, "It's all about how much weight I can lift." I'm like, it's not
No.
about the weight, it's about how you control it, it's about how you grow from it and progressive overload over time. Feel like I feel like you could get injured. I mean, it's very much ego
Yeah,
lifting for
it is.
sure. Yeah, you saying that just sparked that thought.
No, I think there's a lot of nuance with training too. Like one of the like greatest factors for hypertrophy is personal enjoyment because like science
Mhm.
put more effort into the actual movement. So like people trying to force themselves to conform to a certain training style when they absolutely hate said training style, they're probably going to progress less if they did something than if they did something that's like less optimal, but they enjoyed it more. So there's a lot of nuance with training as well. I would say
Was there yeah, was there you don't have to do, like, top 3, but
no,
were
yeah.
there another mindset, like, where kids or not kids, but, like, early on in their fitness journey, are there other mindsets that people get wrong? Like,
Yeah.
well, not like how do I wanna word it? It's just not a mindset in total, but other areas of their mindset. You mentioned, like, other aspects of their life, and they're just focused too much on training, and they forget, like, the diet, they forget the recovery, and that's, like, one of the most important parts is your diet and recovery. But is there anything else?
I would say, like, just doing it for the wrong reasons. I know we kinda touched on that earlier, but again, like, a lot of people get in shape or try to get in shape for reasons that aren't going to sustain their transformation. Like, people will get in shape to just, like, spite somebody or to, like, prove somebody wrong, and if you don't have a great enough reason to continue staying in shape, if you don't truly enjoy the process, you will fail. Like, you can get in shape without really enjoying the gym, but you
Mhm,
have to have some type of great reason. Like, I have clients who it's like, they're 45 years old and they're like, I am overweight and I want to be a role model for my son because he's growing up overweight and I don't want him to end up like me. Like, that's a reason that you will sustain that because it means so much to you. But if you're just like, I want to get in shape to prove my ex girlfriend wrong and because I think it'd be
mhm.
cool to have a six pack, I think that you're going to fail. That's just the way that I look at my clients who have had the most success and they all like, besides like bodybuilders because they're just so disciplined, but like guys who really don't have that much experience and start with me, they're more successful whenever they have a great reason behind like what they want to actually achieve and why they want to get in shape. The people with no reason or with no commitment, they seem to do a lot worse.
I like that you touched on, like, your personal thing, like, especially going through a breakup. Is that kinda your thought process, like, in the moment when you got broken up with? Is that kinda like, "Oh, I gotta get my comeback." Is that kinda how you thought of it?
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, with prep, it was like I was already so locked in on prep that like
Yeah.
nothing really changed in terms of like how I was putting effort into prep. But definitely after when I was still kind of getting over the whole situation, that was part of the reason where I like started coaching and started taking my life a little more serious. It was more of just like not proving somebody wrong, but just like still being angry at that situation and just telling myself like, okay, I'm not going to go through something like that again and I'm not going to feel this way again because I'm going to become a better man and a stronger man so that if this does happen to me again later in life, I will not respond the way that I did mentally
Yeah.
in the way that I looked at it.
Yeah, so growing mentally and becoming more mature. I like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Maturity is a huge thing.
Yeah. Can I ask you why she broke up with you? Or is that
Uh,
too personal to
no,
ask?
it's not too personal. It was a good bit ago, but to be honest, like, I mean, her reasoning was we were going 2 different ways in life. Like, I was very similar to her when we started dating, and
Mhm.
as like, when we broke up, I was very different than her. Like, she didn't really understand why I couldn't go, like, get a sweet treat because I was on prep, and I was definitely very closeted on prep. I think you should, like, if you do not have a perfectly stable relationship, which I realized I didn't at the time, then a prep will end that relationship. That's something
Mhm.
a huge believer of. It's just very hard when you're in that mental state. You have to have somebody who fully understands what you're going through and is going to be hyper patient with you. Otherwise, it's going to end up in flames, and it ended up in flames. And I know she said a lot about just like how I was very focused on other things and very focused on things outside of the relationship, which was completely true. Like I was, to be honest. You cannot be like an incredible boyfriend or an incredible like romantical partner on prep. I just don't think it's really possible with the mental state that you're in. And so
Mhm.
I fell victim to that.
No, yeah, for sure. I'm honestly glad that like I like you had a breakup, but it wasn't on prep. It was like I want to say 3 to 4 months before I was planning on doing it, and then it happened. So it was kind of a coincidence that it happened, and it gave me a little bit more motivation for sure. But
Yeah.
I lost a lot of I feel relationships on prep
Yeah.
because like I have friends that like when you go to college and you're in high school and you have all these friends that you see and then you split off and you see how many people you actually want to talk to and want to stay
Yes.
in contact with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have like maybe 5 or 6 people, which is not a lot, and that's honestly what I would prefer.
Yeah.
but I didn't see them or talk to them pretty much at all. And when they did call me, I would be like, I'd give them like maybe a brief, like, yeah, I'm doing all right. How are you? And I wasn't present is probably the
Yes.
best word to describe that as. And I feel like I had a bad relationship with my parents at the time too. Because I'm still living at home. Like I'm lucky enough to where I can commute to school,
Yeah.
and save me some money. But yeah, I did not have a good relationship with my dad. And my dad honestly questioned me like why I was doing this. He's like, "Why would you want to live your life like this?" And obviously, it's only like a 6 month period. It's still a lot of time, but I did question myself too at sometimes. But I think in the end, they finally understood that it wasn't about getting on the stage. It was about the journey of getting on the stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, and I think that's when they were like, "Okay, I understand now." But I definitely can relate to that when you said that, your girlfriend and that stable relationship will crumble and it will
Yeah.
go up in flames. Yeah, I understand that because it happened to my family and I didn't even have a romantic partner at that point in my life anyway. So yeah, if you guys are on prep, if anybody's listening to this and they're on prep and you have a girlfriend, be thankful for them that they're there. Um, If you don't have one, be thankful you don't have that happening. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I've seen that. I mean, I think like not only do you lose connections on prep, but you lose connections when you like develop yourself. Like that's something I've seen super like very common in my life is like when I really started to develop myself, I lost a lot of friends. Like I had
Mm,
a lot of people I used to be very close with, and we just don't have that much in common anymore. I'm not who I used to be, and they're still who they used to be, so we just don't really talk anymore because we're very different. And I think, that happened with that relationship too, where it was you're becoming somebody different than who you used to be, and that's not who that person knows you as. So like if you're trying to develop yourself and you aren't developed at all, be prepared to like honestly lose connections because you're going to see really quick like what you have in common with people besides those surface level things that you probably do with them every single weekend.
yeah, 100%, dude. 100%. So you talked about a little. I want to go back to the mindset thing. I love talking about the mindset. It's
Yeah.
big. That's kind of what I'm pursuing now is sports psychology. I want to work with because every like athletic team is required to have a psychologist on staff now,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting. That's kind of what I want to pursue. But you mentioned some people that like people's mindset and how some of their mistakes will lead them to kind of go up. I don't want to say in flames again because I already used it, but what like have people quit before you on coaching? Like have they
Yeah.
just decided to they have?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, perfect. So what are some things or some common like personality traits that have led that like to happen?
So I would say first, like some people just like don't understand that the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Like I had a client,
Mm,
I have no problem saying this because he literally like did not pay me, like took money from me. Like it was a bad situation.
are you
Yes.
serious?
Yes, yes. Terrible situation.
Wow.
But he was chronically addicted to smoking weed. And that was one of the main pain points when he reached out to me was like, all I do is smoke weed and eat a bunch of junk food every night. Like whatever, I need to fix this. And I was like, okay, like I did everything I could. He would go weeks without responding to me, and then he'd text me and say like was like he like was just like not doing anything for like 3 weeks, was laying in bed all day, just smoking every single day, and like crash out. I'd get him on a phone call, I'd try to talk sense into him, and then it would just go right back. And the issue was he was so dependent on something external, and he was so like he was unable to change. He just didn't have a reason to change other than the fact that like, he was so comfortable with where he was. Like, all he was so used to and conformed to smoking every single day and only doing that, that anything else seemed like too great of a challenge and he wouldn't do it. So I've seen that happen firsthand. That was when I was very early on in coaching as well. So it was a very interesting situation that
Yeah.
I definitely developed my abilities a lot to understand human psychology because people are very like hesitant to change their life because they don't understand that like your life looks better on the other side of discipline.
Hmm.
Like it's hard at first, but when you see the outcomes come in, like for example, you stop smoking weed and you see how much more clear-headed you are and you see how much more you enjoy your life and like the light come back in your eyes,
Hmm.
you don't want to smoke weed anymore. That's what happened with
Yeah.
me. I didn't want to smoke anymore because I saw how much better of a person I could be and how much more I actually loved my life when that like mask was taken off. But most people won't get past that first stage, and that's the hardest stage to get past. And that's what happened with that kid. He didn't get past that stage.
Yeah.
And I'd say like Another thing too that like people will, I guess, will lead to people failing is just not having like enough of a commitment in it. Like part of the reason, like with fitness coaching, right? You obviously are charging a decent bit for fitness coaching because it is a pretty like
For sure.
premium service. But I've noticed people who have zero financial commitment into it and don't really have a great reason to change, they'll never change. Like I'll have people where it's like they're spending a lot of money in comparison to their income on coaching, and they might not even have a crazy reason to get in shape, but they're so inclined to put effort in because of the financial commitment, because it genuinely hurts to spend that much money on their transformation. But I'll see
Mm,
people like they're like absolutely loaded on money. Like I had this kid who was making $50,000 a month on e-commerce,
holy, my gosh. Okay.
like 15 years old, crazy money. He came on the call wearing like an AP watch, which is like a $50,000 watch. And he paid in full for 6 months, and that money was so minuscule to him. And
Mm-hmm.
he didn't really like have a great reason to change, so he just didn't put any effort in because there was nothing backing him. So I believe like it's either if the financial aspect or if some aspect in your life creates a great reason for you to change, you will with
Yeah.
coaching. But if there's nothing backing you and you're just so comfortable with your life, the money doesn't mean that much to you, the transformation doesn't mean that much to you, that's when you fail. That's whenever people will fail.
Wow. And it's almost like the fearfulness of change. Like people are scared to change because
Yeah.
they're I don't know, it's so interesting because it's like once you do the change, you're better for it, but it's the act of taking that first step that's the most important part. And people that don't take that first step are fearful of what's on the other side.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's just interesting because it's just that first step that really counts.
It
I
really
don't
is.
I don't and it's weird because a lot of people know that they're gonna be better for it most likely, but they wanna stay in that comfort zone. They
Yeah.
wanna they don't wanna it goes back to hold on, maybe I can shift it. I got David Goggins back there, but he talks about, like, not being in the comfort zone all the time, and he's hardly ever in the comfort zone, and he's like, "You will learn more about yourself by not being in the comfort zone."
Yeah.
So, it's just people wanna stay comfortable, man.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, it's like everything that you're like trying to quit or like any bad habit you're going to quit, it's literally hard for like 2 weeks. Like it's genuinely hard for a couple weeks, and then as soon as you realize, hey, my quality of life is improved by doing this, then you want to
Mhm.
keep it. It's just the fact that you like it's a given that with anything in life, you have to show up with no result for a given period of time. Like when I first started posting content, gained no followers. Oh, I hated it.
Mhm.
I didn't want to keep posting. I
Yep.
gained followers. Okay, I want to keep posting. This is awesome, right? Because I saw an outcome, but it only sucked when I didn't see the outcome I want.
Mhm. That happened with the first couple episodes of this podcast. I've decided to kinda go all in on it, like, pretty soon here, I'm gonna be getting a camera that's gonna update the quality. Now, the quality's not bad now, but this is off a
Yeah,
laptop that I'm working off of. But, like, at first, I looked at, like, the amount of people listening to the podcast. Now, obviously, I don't have a lot of publicity, no not a lot of traction, and I'm
yeah,
actually working on that now. But first 3 episodes I posted, maybe, like, 4 people listened to it, and it's like I was upset because I didn't have the results yet. And it's like
yeah,
because I want to go back to the social media aspect because it's like you scroll to the next video, everything's instantaneous now. And we as people, like we as in humanity, have such
yeah,
this desire and this need for everything to be instantaneous. And that's because of social media now. And
yeah,
because of like the internet and it's everything so fast paced and it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I was caught on the idea that I wanted it. I'm like, "Oh, I don't have to work for it. Like, I should just be able to get stuff like this." And they're like, "No, I need to you everything that people decide to do, wherever you take your life, you need to put the time in to be able to get the outcome that you want. The more time you put in, like who was that quote? It's like the more you put in, the more you get out. I don't know who said that, but
I know Hermosi has a quote like that where it's like just do an unreasonable amount of volume that you cannot fail. Like Hermosi says that, and that's something that I like hold myself to a lot. Is like if
yeah,
you do so much volume, like it gets to a point where if you're putting in so much work, you can't fail. Like it
yeah,
mathematically, it doesn't make sense if you fail.
because you're doing so much work. It's like
Yeah,
and it's so easy to do more work nowadays because I feel like most or majority of people are kind of lazy.
yeah, 100%,
Like I
absolutely.
know a lot, like especially in college, it's so weird
Yeah,
because you would think college students are relatively like productive. Most of my friends that I know in college are not productive at all, and
yeah.
they wait till Yeah, they wait till like the last second to do things. Me myself, I have a whole calendar. I gotta like for this podcast that we planned out. I had to plan out a space in my schedule for it to happen.
Yeah, same. I've got a whole whiteboard here that I use every single night. I write everything for the next day with timestamps of when to do it, and I just get it done.
That's nice. I think, and that's an interesting thing you brought up with with the whiteboard because do you think has this ever happened to you? Because I used to use a whiteboard
Yeah.
and I would put like timestamps of when things need to get done, and if it goes past the timestamp, it would be hard for me to do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I definitely feel that. What I typically do with that is, like, I give myself enough so that there is some leeway in the schedule. Like, as disciplined as I am, I'm not, like, sitting at my desk or in the gym for 24 hours of my day, like, it's just unreasonable.
Yeah.
So I definitely give myself time, like, where it's very reasonable to complete everything by that specified time, and I know I'm fully capable of doing it. So typically, I'll end up actually beating the pace of the whiteboard by a lot, and I'll do stuff that I had to do later, and that
Hmm.
gives me an even greater feeling of gratification because I feel like I'm ahead for the day. So I think with that, it's like you just can't hold yourself to like an insane standard on that because you'll burn yourself out. If it's like, okay, I have to do 15 things by 9 a.m., it's like you're gonna cook
Hmm.
yourself, and you're gonna have a terrible mindset for the rest of your day.
No,
So just giving
absolutely.
yourself enough time is very important.
Yeah. I honestly envy you on getting up at 4 a.m. I saw your story today and I'm like, dang, I got up at 6.
That's better. That's better than 99% of people. Like that's earlier than 99% of people.
Yeah, and I wonder because so for me, when I was waking up at 4, I used to go on like jogs in the
Yeah,
morning, and it was a great way to start my day. Great. And what I would do is I'd get up at 4, I'd go for a jog, and then I would eat, and then I'd like do a little bit of stretching and mobility, and then I'd go back to bed. That was the whole process, and it lasted about 3 months or so. And like I'd get up for the second time, then I'd go to school and I'd do everything,
yeah,
and then I would lift later in the day. And that was a great like I loved that schedule, loved it. But it got to a point where I was like starting to like my brain, I was starting to fall asleep in class,
yeah,
and I couldn't handle it. So I guess my question would be to you is because I also work at a bar now. So
yeah. So you're
I
probably
work at a
off.
nice yeah, I work at a nice restaurant. It's on the weekends. And then like obviously when I'm on break, which will be here in like a week and a half, roughly, I'm gonna be working there 5, 6 days a week. So I'll be up at like midnight. And I understand how important sleep is. So my biggest thing, if I don't wake up early, I feel like I'm not being as productive as I possibly can. But then again, I also have to try to keep in mind that I'm going to bed at a lot later time than probably you are.
But yeah, 100%.
So I guess my question would be if I didn't like obviously I'm working on the weekends now. So during the week I try to get up at like 6 roughly cuz my first class is around like 8:30, 9:30, depends on the day. But how do you go to bed way earlier? Is that the secret?
But yeah, I mean, I go to bed like my bedtime is that of like somebody in their 60s or 70s. Like I go to bed at probably like somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock typically.
Okay.
With sleep, it's like, you know, obviously I wake up early. I love waking up early. I'm a morning person. I'm very productive in the morning. You do not need to wake up early to be successful, to get in shape. I don't think any of that. I think getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep is extremely important. And the only reason I'm able to wake up early consistently is because one, I'm getting that consistent 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And two, my sleep and wake times are typically around the exact same every single day. Like you don't want to have crazy diversity in the time you go to bed and the time you wake up. That's how you cook your sleep schedule. That's how most people are tired throughout the day. Like I'll see it all the time where people will wake up at 5 a.m. on the weekdays and on the weekends they sleep until noon and wonder why they feel terrible throughout the week. But your body is just not accustomed to that, so you're not going to feel good. So I would say like for people waking up early, it's like you should only wake up early if you can do it consistently and still hit your sleep quota. That's
Mhm.
really I look at that.
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest struggle now is because I went from being a mechanic to now like serving.
Yeah.
So it's like two totally different professions that I'm doing. And it's obviously I'm making more money by serving, but I'm staying up a hell of a lot later.
Yeah.
And I used to wake up not at 4, but I mean, I did, but for like maybe a 3 month period. And then it changed to 5 because I needed that extra hour and it was
Yeah.
help, it was helping me get through the day. But now that I work a lot later, it's like the transition from Sunday to Monday, like going like I would get off at like midnight and I'd go to bed and I'd get up at 6 for school the next day. It's like the worst transition in the
Oh, it's
world.
terrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've fallen into that so many times where, like, if even if I stay up late on Saturday night, for example, maybe I'm hanging out with friends till late, on Sunday, I can't fall asleep at my normal time, and then I wake up Monday off 5 hours of sleep, and that day is just like, I do not feel like my normal self that day.
Mhm.
That's I'll see that a lot with just my sleep schedule in general. It has to be very, very close to perfection when it comes to my sleep, otherwise I will not feel 100%. There's ways to get
Mm.
around it though, like the way you feel. Like, I'll take
Yeah.
military naps is huge.
I don't understand how people take naps. I physically can't take a nap. If the sun's up, I'm up until the
So
sun's down.
for me, bro, like I I hated naps my entire life. I always thought it was the stupidest thing ever. I like refused to. I thought I felt
Mhm.
terrible after. Like if you take a nap, you wake up in a pool of sweat, you feel terrible. That was always
Yeah.
the mindset I had. I started taking these military naps, and I literally I elevate my feet, and I put a pillow under my head, and I put my phone on my chest, and I set a timer for 20 minutes. I got this from my roommate who lives across the hallway.
Mhm.
I'll set a timer for 20 minutes, and as soon as that 20 goes off, I'll have this water bottle sitting here, fully filled up with 24 ounces of water. I'll pound it, and it's like I just had like 2 energy drinks, and I'm ready to go. And I feel like $1,000,000. It sounds so s
Really?
it's incredible. I've hated naps my whole life. I started doing that. You don't even fall asleep. Your mind just goes into like this trance state of relaxation,
Mhm.
like you're actually fully asleep. But my mind is just so relaxed. It's like meditation almost. And then when you wake up and
Interesting.
hydrate yourself, you just feel incredible. So I do that instead of like hyper relying on caffeine to get through my day.
Yeah. I've completely taken out energy drinks, pre-workout. Like it's just because I realized how bad it made me feel. Like
Yeah.
I would wake up drowsy because I would, I take if I work out at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening and I would take like a scoop of pre-workout, I mean that torches my sleep
Yeah.
schedule.
No, I cut
I'd
all
wake
ca
up no, absolutely. And now it's just like now it's just black coffee. I really like black coffee. Espressos are really nice. That's kinda all I use. I would just have, like, maybe an espresso before I train
Yeah,
with my pre-workout meal. That's pretty much all I need. Yeah, I'm gonna try that military sleep, dude. That
it
that
works.
actually seems so sick.
It definitely
I
works.
yeah, I do leg drains, but they're, like, 30 minutes, and they are really relaxing, and you get, like, that numbing feeling in your legs when all
Yeah,
the blood's kinda getting out because it's really good for circulation.
yeah,
I need to get on that though, again. Like, that's the one thing I'm lacking in currently is just the recovery aspect. Like, I sleep, I get my 8 hours every day, and I think that's the most important part, but I
easily.
think it's doing more mobility work, more stretching, and honestly, meditation works great.
Yeah, it does. A lot of people neglect, like, stretching as well. Like, most dudes walk into the gym, hit a couple of these little shoulder rolls, and then you're good to bench
Mhm.
3.
Yeah, nah. I need at least, like, a good 10-minute warm up. I got these,
Yeah.
it's like a Canadian brand. You ever seen Rise, but not the supplement brand,
Like
but
the
the
clothing brand?
clothing brand.
Yeah.
Yes. They sell these really good, like, high quality bands. This is not sponsored. I wish it was. But I have these really good, like, workout bands, and I'll use them just to, like, warm up my shoulder. They feel amazing. Like, there's different, levels of, like, I have, like, the 70-pound one. Like, that's the max load it could take is like 70 pounds. Obviously, like it's like a 70-pound band. It's really good, and they have like these quotes on the side of them. It's really dope. I think mine's like "Be the best version of yourself today" or something like that. And it's just got good quotes on it. But I need at least like a 10-minute warm up. Like yesterday, I had like a push workout because I'm in there 5 days a week now. I was going 6, and I'm like I need more rest than that, so I was doing 5 now, and I like to do these curve bar incline presses. You ever seen a curve bar?
Yeah, yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, and it's really good. You get a nice stretch. But yeah, it's got a good stretch on that. And I warmed up for a good 10, 15 minutes beforehand because I can't just do some shoulder rolls and
Oh,
just
yeah,
go into it.
I've had so many injuries where I'm just so particular about my warm-ups nowadays.
No, yeah.
I have to.
What kind of injuries have you had?
I've had shoulder issues for a long time, pretty much resolved now. Like, never anything serious, but just so much pain in my shoulder. I haven't actually flat benched in like 4 years probably. And then,
Wow.
when I was in high school, like the big injury I had was straining my lat in high school. I played volleyball, so just repetitive swinging motion of hitting the volleyball 1,000,000 times. I strained my lat pretty bad, and then I worsened it squatting, and so I couldn't have any load on my back for like 5 months. I missed the whole volleyball season when I was like we were supposed to do really well that season, and I missed playoffs, I missed everything, and that was definitely, like, a big a big struggle for me at the time, and it made me really take warm up serious after that because I did not want to go through that again.
Yeah, no, it's again going back to the like the fear piece. You're
Yeah,
fearful of re-injuring yourself
yeah.
for sure, dude. I mean, I have never had like a really, really bad injury physically, but I'm not trying to get my first one. I'll tell you.
Yeah, no, it's not a fun experience, trust me.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
So I want to go back to structure, and you said you're kind of your daily routine and everything. How important is structure for young men today? Do you think? Well, do you think that in today's society it makes it hard, especially for men, to stay disciplined?
So I mean, I think structure is vital, obviously, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that like society makes it hard. I think it's just very normalized to not be structured. Like society pulls you away from being like a hardworking, disciplined man. I think that's just the nature of the world today. Is society like it's normal to do things that are not disciplined. It's normal to not really focus on your diet. You know, people will not bat an eye if you're hitting a vape in the cafeteria, but they'll bat an eye if you bring a scale and a meal prep container.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's very normalized to not be disciplined in structure, but I also don't think that like people should use their environment as an excuse or fall victim to their environment. Like for me, like my school is a massive party school. Massive.
Mm-hmm.
I go for walks and runs or go do cardio at 4 a.m. and I see kids walking home from the bar or still in bar clothes walking around.
That's
Like
insane.
it's hilarious, but it doesn't affect the discipline I have at all because I'm just not, I haven't fallen victim to that environment anymore. Now, did I in
Mm-hmm.
the past? Absolutely. And I see how you can continue to get like wrapped up into that. But I think structure eliminates a lot of that because when you have a very structured day, that structure gives you gratification and relief. Like for me, like every day would feel in such disarray because I'd be like, okay, I have to do this assignment. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, I forgot about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to go about your life when you know exactly what you have to get done. Like when you have a quick blueprint of like, okay, I have to go to the gym, whatever at this time. I'm gonna do this homework assignment. I gotta do this, this, this. Like when you have everything written out, it's so much better. And I was never like that. Like when I was in middle school, every kid would buy a planner and I'd refuse to use my planner and I'd always get yelled at by the teachers.
Yep.
Would never touch my planner. But now it's funny because I write everything I do on a whiteboard and it has improved my quality of life so much. And I think too, it's like if you want to be like whatever your goal is or whatever you want to become, you have to work backwards from that goal. So it's like what I'm writing on here is like, okay, what would the Brandon that I want to be in 6 months be doing every day? He'd probably do this.
Mm,
Oh, that's what I'm gonna do. That's the way that I really look at it.
awesome, dude. So would you say for like maybe even your clients, is it hard for them to stay structured, especially during like a prep or anything like that?
Not necessarily. I would say I give them a lot to really
Mm-hmm.
focus on their structure. Like they have a full calendar of like their training days, what cardio they have to do. I have modules for them on like how to structure a morning routine, a nighttime routine, how to structure like their meals. They have like their structured meals with which one should be like pre and post workout. So they have so much structure given from me that if they utilize that structure, they very quickly adapt to it and it becomes super easy. Like when somebody works with me for over a month, the
Mm-hmm.
structure they develop in their life is actually crazy because it's like they have a full module on how to develop their routines, like their morning and nighttime. They understand how to eat correctly. They have structure in their training. They know which days they're supposed to be training. And whenever you like do that structure for a little bit of time and you see how much better your life gets, like I said before, it's a lot easier to stick to it because you realize that the structure is the key to achieving your goals easier.
Yeah, I love that. So I noticed that in one of your pinned posts, you have like a whole clientele talking about you as a coach, and
Yeah.
they describe you as more of like a best friend almost than an actual coach. And I think it's no, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you look for in a coach is somebody you can rely on and actually talk to.
Yeah.
So how do you stay authentic online? Especially towards like social media because everything's so exaggerated now. How do you stay your true authentic self?
So for me, like what I realize is like in the short term, social media rewards you for being inauthentic. In the very short
Mhm.
term, right? When I first blew up on social media, I got 15,000 followers. I got posted on overtime. I got 100 million views for a fake transformation video. It was a joke video of me and my ex-girlfriend
Yeah,
rolling.
I
Yep.
remember seeing that, and I'm like, "That's not real."
Yep, it went super hyper viral, and I was like, okay, I was inauthentic. That's sick. But then I had no relation with my audience.
Mhm.
Nobody cared who I was or what I had to say because they didn't know anything about me, and all they knew about me was a fake, inauthentic video. So when I started really like coaching, I was like, well, what would I look for in a coach? I'd probably want to really know somebody and make sure that I'm putting my trust in the right place. So it wasn't easy at first. Like when I first hopped on a camera and tried to talk, I sounded like an idiot. Like I couldn't formulate sentences. Like I said, I was terrible at speaking. The more that I talked into that camera, the more that I developed a passion for it. I realized that I might not always get more views and clicks by being my authentic self, but the impact I was delivering was tenfold compared to if I was to over exaggerate. Like the amount of DMs I was getting, the amount of people texting me or commenting on my videos, especially on like YouTube talks where they're commenting on those. I had never like on a transformation video like that fake one, I'd never get somebody commenting a paragraph about how this has changed their life. But I get that every day on YouTube and Instagram now through DMs, through comments, through whatever. So I realized that like authenticity, the gift that you're given from being authentic is impact. And I care so much more about impact than I do about views or clicks. So that's really what allows me to stay authentic is understanding that it's so rewarding to just be your true self and have that true self actually change somebody's life. That's the most rewarding thing ever.
Dude, 100%. I just had a performance coach come on here, and he used to play professional football. That podcast will be out this weekend if you want to check that out. But he talked about the most rewarding part of his job is seeing the progress that people make, and
Yeah.
it's more about the authenticity than anything else. He sells like coaching programs, and he sells like workout like pack like I don't want to say packets, but like what's the word?
Like packages or like
Yeah,
programs.
workout packages. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And he sells those, and he runs lifting classes at the place that works at. And if you go to his Instagram, he actually shares some of the testimonies that people talk about. And he talked about this guy who needed like knee surgery, like maybe his third knee surgery, comes to him and he trains with him for a year, and he doesn't need knee surgery anymore. And his knees are like not completely healed, but they're in a lot better shape than they were. And he said that's the most rewarding part about his job. And I love that. And it's honestly about, I think, what life is all about.
Yeah.
What you do for other people and how they perceive you. And I just think it's an amazing thing, man. I love it. I love
No,
it.
I completely agree. I think it's just about like what like who do you want to be remembered as is the way that I look at it. And it's like I want to be remembered as my true authentic self because that's somebody that I feel I can be proud of and I want to change lives by being that person. Like there's nothing more rewarding than a client telling you that you changed their life. Like that nothing will ever feel as good as that ever.
Hmm.
No, nothing beats it.
I learned that from my coach too, because I even told him I think my only regret was not like I thought when I was talking to him, like because what we would do is I would have check-ins every week, and then it got to the point where we were checking in I think every single day.
Yeah, that happened with me too.
Yeah, and and then I think maybe 4 or 3 days out, I was checking in pretty much after almost every other meal.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's all it was for
it
me.
was actually really funny because I didn't know that was gonna happen, and I was checking in like my school bathroom, and he texted me, and he was like, "Hey, I need a check-in photo right now." I'm like, "Are you for real? I'm in class." And he's like, "I need it now." And I'm like, "Okay." So I had to like, "Hey, professor, can I use the restroom?" I went into the bathroom, I stripped down, and I'm like, "Okay, now I'm taking pictures of myself in the bathroom. This has got to be the weirdest thing I've ever done."
I've never heard of that before. That's interesting. Like, so you didn't know you were supposed to check in until literally he texted you?
So we were taking it day by day.
Yeah.
My Because I think I was carb depleting at the moment still. Because we started carbing up, I want to say 2 days. Because my body's very interesting in the way that it reacts to food very drastically, but
Yeah.
it's in small amounts, very small amounts. My body will react heavily. Like I was just joking with my coach. I saw him yesterday, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, why are you up a pound from last week?" I'm like, I had like maybe one cheat meal, and I'm allowed to have one.
Yeah.
And it's like I'll look at a plate of food and I just blow up instantly, and it's insane. Yeah, I mean that to me is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Going back in time, and like I check in once a week now, and it's like I would never have thought I had to check in 4 times to 3 times a day going back, and I'm like I honestly like was questioning him at the time, but now I realize like, well, my body was reacting to the foods he was giving me because he would go like, I would text him my check in the morning, and then he would text me like, here's your meal. He would give me everything was weighed out in grams, so you'd like, okay, here's everything. I would bring like my scale to school, and it was one of the most embarrassing but funny things. Like I look back on it now, and it's not embarrassing. I was embarrassed at the time, but I honestly laugh at it now. I would pull out my scale in class. I'd pull out this big thing of chicken. I had rice, and I had like honey, and it was so funny. And I would just stand there or sit there in class, and I would measure out everything in class, and everyone's like, "What's going on?" And then I was like, "Oh, I have a bodybuilding show," and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool." And then like once people actually understood what you were doing, they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
it's relatively normal for that sport."
yeah.
But yeah, I look back on
People
that
will look
now,
at
and
it weird. I mean, I have a
yeah,
cousin who's one of those kids who I said's competing in April. He's a senior in high school, and he'll
mhm.
text me every day and be like, "All these kids make fun of me for my meal prep in school, but it's gonna be worth it." I was like, "Yeah, I've been there, bro. Trust me."
It's just because society today is not used to think the things that like bodybuilders do. The things that I think the things that like make you great, the things that will continuously like promote your development as a human being are the things that people look at and say that they're weird.
Yeah, I completely agree. The amount of weird looks, like, dude, people will talk to me all the time, like, because I just started training later. I used to train in the morning. I'll have
Mhm.
kids who I'm like kind of friends with come up to me and they're like, "Oh, did you sleep in today? Like, are you sleeping in today? Why are you here so late?" And I'm like, "Bro, you just wouldn't understand. You just wouldn't get it, bro."
Yeah. It even goes like this happened to me the other day where I've been starting to dress a little bit better too. Just cuz I don't know, I feel like sweatpants are for home. Sweatpants
Yeah,
are for
yeah,
like I just try to like cuz I feel like when I dress better, I feel better.
I agree.
And yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to you don't have to show up in a suit or anything, but I'll wear like I don't know, jeans and a sweater or something like something normal. And my buddy was like, "Why are you so dressed up? You got like a presentation today or
I get
something?"
that
I'm like,
all the time.
"Do you
Yes.
really?" Yeah,
Dude, yes, bro. I remember the one it was like one of my first days of class, and I'm like, I don't know this professor. I'd like to show up to class and look well put together and have a
right.
conversation with this guy. And so I pulled up in like, I don't know, like it was like a quarter zip like this and like Banana
Mhm.
Republic pants. And the kid next to me was like, "Bro, what are you wearing, bro? Like, why are you dressed like what do you got going on?" I was like, can I just not dress nice? And can I not, is that not
Yeah,
just a normal
it's
thing? Like, but again, it's
so weird.
yeah, everything that, like, makes you more put together or everything that makes you even more disciplined, it's just, like, it's weird to people, which is really
And it goes back to what you said that the world today and most people today are shown in an unstructured life. Like a lot of people, it's almost like they're promoting an unstructured way of living,
yeah,
and
I mean,
it's
fitness isn't even normal, like, if you look at there's more millionaires than there are people with a six-pack, that's a real statistic. It's just like, you and I are so used to just seeing fitness on social media that it's like
mhm.
everyone is 16 years old benching 315 and looks better than me, but it's like, the majority of people are overweight and don't really have, much of a grasp on their life. That's just the
Yeah.
reality of today's world.
Yeah. And the cool part is like you look at your progress over time and then you see people that like I don't know what's that guy's name. I almost want to look it up. But he's like 18 or 19 years old and he's already taking like steroids and he's massive, like massive. And I'm like this guy is my age and maybe like a year younger than me and he's like 3 times as big as me and he's only been working out for 3 years or something like that. Something ridiculous.
There's so many.
And
I couldn't even tell you who you're talking about because there's just so many
I
people.
know, it's insane. It's almost like he's a new Sam Sulek to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see people like that, and you think it hinders your progress, but in reality, you're just like, well, okay, take into account that this guy is already taking things that aren't natural. I am a fully natural guy, and you have to accept that you're not taking anything to enhance your body. And that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good thing, I think.
It's way better for longevity. Like, it almost relates to, like, how we talked about how with social media being inauthentic in the short run, you'll get a reward, but you won't get, like, the real reward in the long run. It's the same thing with that, where it's like, you could hop on gear when you're 16, you'll make a ton of progress at first, but then years down the line, your body's destroyed, your testosterone's messed up, your sex hormones are all destroyed. Whereas if you just take things natural, progress might be slow at first, but you're gonna see a real impact on your life way down the line.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think natural bodybuilding is like kind of coming back now to a sense, and I'm seeing more natural people show up, and I'm like, heck yeah! Like, I think promoting longevity is the most important thing we can do, especially like kids that are under us, because we're
Yeah.
still kids now. I'm not even 21. You're not even. Are you 21 or are you
I
20?
turned 21 like 3 days ago.
But dude, happy birthday! Yeah, yeah. So you're pretty much an adult now, but
Yeah.
I would say you're still kind of like a kid almost.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I'm
for the younger generation, I told the kid. You remember the kid I told you that was ego lifting last week,
yeah, yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, I just want to lift all this weight and I want to take gear." And I just looked at him like, "Bro, I've been working out for almost 6 years now. I think it'll be 6 years. Yeah, it'll be almost 6 years." And I said, "Like, I made a pretty decent amount of progress. You can do the same thing. It's just going to take time."
Yeah.
And I kind of turned his attention away from the steroids, and I was like, "Look, you can do you really want like let's think about this for a second. Do you really want to hinder your health for like have long-term effects on your health, or like just to achieve a physique that you think is going to be insane, and it probably will, but he's not like taking into account that he's not going to live as long and he's not going to experience as many things as he might want to. And another aspect you need to consider is once you get that physique, you probably still won't be happy with it."
No, not at all. The reasons like steroids are so prevalent is because like our society is built around instant gratification. Like
Mhm.
you look at the things that so many men are consumed by: social media, pornography, weed, going out, all of these things that instantly gratify you with some type of outcome. Then when it comes to fitness, when men get into fitness, the first thing they can think of is, okay, how can I achieve this result and be gratified as soon as possible? Steroids, that's the answer. Okay, therefore I'm going to take steroids. It's just because their minds are so conditioned to instant gratification that it always comes back to that, and that's the first thing that they wanna do is, "How quickly can I achieve this result?" Not, "What is this result actually gonna do for me in the long run?"
Yeah. Have you had clients that have talked to you about steroid use and like have been kind of like, I kind of want to try it. I kind of want to do it. Have you
I've had,
had that happen, and what have you kind of said
yeah,
to them?
100%. I've had people come to me on steroids, and I've just had to, like, PCT them, like, post psychotherapy.
Mm,
I've only had it happen a couple of times, but it was more guys who came to me on steroids, and they're like, "Brandon, like, my blood work's cooked, like, I'm not like, I need to fix this, like, what am I doing wrong?" Whatever, and I'd pretty much both cases was it was just a simple PCT where we introduced something like enclomiphene to help support their sex hormones and help get their blood work back up, and
mm,
then typically, like, if thyroid was messed up, there was some type of thyroid medication in there or supplementation, some things that help thyroid. So, like, I'll have different I mean, you could put, like, Thyro Boost in to really just help with your overall thyroid function. Sometimes, like, their lipid panels get a bit shot. It really depends on the person. I've never had somebody where it's like, "Okay, we're gonna hop on this cycle. We're gonna run this cycle consistently right now," but it was more just like, "Okay, we wanna be really healthy with where you're at right now. You've been taking this, this, this. We need to get you off this, and I'm gonna do everything I can to correct your blood work and get you functioning fully, like, properly now."
mm-hmm. Okay. So you're not like turning away people that are on steroids because I don't think that's the right thing to do,
No, it's not at all.
especially if they're coming to you for help.
Yeah, they're gonna be better off with like, if somebody's taking steroids without me versus with me, they're gonna be better off taking them with me. So that's the way I look at it as well. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody gives me an ultimatum, they're like, "I'm taking steroids whether or not I work with you," I'll work with them and do what I can to make sure that they're correct and healthy in their dosages, and I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
responsible thing to do in that situation.
Yeah. And even like my trainer, he was or my coach, I should say, he was even like, "Hey, I don't want you." He's like, "You got a lot of potential." He's like, "I don't want you doing anything," kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I really respect him for that because he's running a fair amount of stuff, but he's like the first person to tell you like, "I don't want you. You're not in this for the career. I am."
yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't want you to get involved in that when it's long-term effects that you're not probably going to be prepared for.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of pressure, like, some people will put pressure on you, but that's just not the way to go about it at all.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to that social media piece, man. I mean, we see all these big dudes nowadays that are 3 times, 4 times, maybe even 5 times as big as us on so much stuff. And it kinda does something to you psychologically where you're like, "Wow, I am tiny. I'm tiny." But then you
Yeah.
realize, like, in the grand scheme of things, you are not tiny, and you've
No,
made a
not
lot of progress.
It's just what you're shown to, like, what you're so accustomed to seeing. Like, if you looked at social media all day and all you saw is people so much bigger than you, then yeah, like, you're gonna feel tiny. But if you take a look outside and walk around your college campus and see that most people are out of shape, you're not gonna feel as bad in comparison to other people. It's just what
Yeah.
you're so accustomed to seeing. It's the way I look.
So, as your coaching business takes off, and
Yeah.
it's gonna gradually grow. I already see it doing it now, and you're just gonna get more and more clients. What do you fear most about the future, especially with your business?
I don't see. I looked at that question when you sent it to me, and like the other ones, I was like, like I'll be able to easily answer this on the spot. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't know for that question because I don't really consider myself to be a fearful person anymore, solely
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that I live my life. Like in my eyes, the effort I put in each and every single day to my clients, to my like learning business, learning social media, to just becoming a better version of myself, there's nothing I really fear because I feel as if the outcome is inevitable for me. That's really the way I look at it. And I feel like any person can truly feel that way if they know deep in their heart that they are putting in all of the work that is required to get to where they want to go. I think fear of like what your future will look like, or like the outcome of your life, is a byproduct of the fact that you don't have the correct work ethic. That's really the way that I look at that.
I like that a lot. I really like that. Branden Sniadach, everybody. I really appreciate you coming on, man. This
Dude,
is
this
this has
was
been a
great.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate it because I sent that message out to a lot of people, and you were like one of the first responses, and it was something I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
because I think I wanted you on because of what you're doing in the fitness space now, and you see it like not just on like Instagram reels and things like that, just the way you're talking right now. It really reflects you as a person. So I really appreciate you coming on.